What activities do moderately rich people few million take their kids to do the weekend? In the sports seasons, football and baseball, we were on whatever local field they were playing on. We vegged on weekends and got stuff done around the house or went up to our ranch. Might go out to eat on a Saturday night. They wanted to relax from school and we wanted to recharge from working all week. Despite being comfortable financially, we worked some pretty long hours much of the week to avoid needing to do so on weekends. The kids had school and practices that took a lot of time. I had friends in that category. They did stuff with everyone else, they weren't special. They'd play on local sports teams, we'd hang out by the one store in town, etc. Then around supper time their mom would come in the Hummer H2 that their father insisted she drive. My friends would say goodbye, and they'd go off to their cabin on the river to eat expensive organic meat on sourdough buns while watching the sunset. Well-organized and well-funded competitive club sports leagues. The ones that require you to drive around the state and pay for your kid to travel. Parents owned a fairly successful business and took home low mid-six figures annually. When my middle school-aged brother showed talent for pitching a baseball and expressed desire to play in college, he never played in a weekend recreational league again. Same as everyone else. X200B. Having a net worth of a few million, or making a few million a year? Having a net worth of a few million is comfortable upper middle. Still working the grind but with better pay than most. Not having to worry as much about something happening, but not having enough to live extravagantly. Most people I know in this bracket, their money is tied to their property. They take them from their mansion in the city to their mansion at the lake. They don't really take their kids somewhere on the weekends because they're recovering from a long week. But if there is 2 weeks off school, they take the kids somewhere. Almost always. Usually out of state, sometimes out of the country. Few million income or net worth. Pretty big difference I think. We're the latter 2M net worth. We usually go paddle boarding or foiling on Saturday morning. Our kid goes to work. When he gets home we go out for dinner together. Last night we all went to a comedy show together at a small local theater. Normally go foiling off the back of our motor launch. Anchor up and have some lunch made by our chef in a swim or sun lounge if it's not too windy. If we're feeling lazy we just stay home and play in the pool house. We don't go out unless it's an expensive restaurant because we don't want to see people. What a less well-off family might do once every 5 years as a family vacation, go out of the country or out of state to stay at a hotel or cabin or resort, a well-off family might do on the weekends or a long weekend rather becomes a trip to Milan. We always went to the country club. My dad's side of the fam are rich, shopping, hairdresser, fancy restaurants. They are good people though. Mostly Sir John Stocktor investors. They all have good hearts, and are not stuck up. A few million probably describes a lot of people in standard suburbs: doctors, lawyers, tech people. We do pretty standard things like park, errands, birthday parties, gymnastics. That level of wealth isn't super obvious. Spent a lot of years taking my kids to martial arts tournaments where they competed. Also, would drop them at the bus station for a ride with friends to the local ski area. Tossin' trips to the lake house. A trend I've seen is moderately rich people getting their kids into niche sports to help them get into college, sports like fencing, rowing, lacrosse, equestrian sports, etc. Normal shit for the most part. Maybe a weekend trip within their own country to a nearby destination. They may be rich but they still need to work, so no super long trips. We went to a reindeer encounter and learned about reindeer, and then we were able to pet them and feed them. Then we took pictures in a sleigh with the reindeer. 33-year-old moderately rich person here. We take our kid to the science museum or the park. The main thing we spend somewhat extravagantly on our vacations. Fly to New York for a Broadway show. Fly to wherever Taylor Swift or other favorite musicians are performing. Fly to a vacation home. Country clubs, etc. My dad is worth a few million as a middle-class retiree, but I'm grown in my 30s and live a couple hours away, so we don't really do stuff on weekends. We gather up all our spare change, load the kiddos up in our Range Rover and drive around downtown throwing handfuls of coins at the purse. I used to ride sometimes at a polo club, visit stately homes, family dinner every Sunday, visit the beach, see family, compete in sports. The same things most people take their kids to. They just don't look and act like you are imagining they do. You get dragged around a lot to look at new lighting fixtures. The vacations are pretty great though. Most of the ones I know have their kids in boarding schools so they don't have to deal with them. Equestrian activities. Riding lessons, dressage, show jumping, driving, trail riding. Hurry up, we'll be late for the regatta. The whitest sentence ever uttered. Either rich they should be running for their lives, you know, Hunger Games style, their nannies are paid to do that shit with the kids so they don't have to. Multimillionaires and moderately rich, they're insanely rich. You typically don't get rich by spending a lot of money.